All right, good morning. Thank you for joining our first virtual admitted student event. This one today will be about your education at ECU. And just an overview of the agenda, we are going to discuss what general education is, who our academic advisors are, how to navigate the relationship between your academic advisor, changing your major math placement and the ways to accomplish that, how to register for classes, and then our academic advisors are going to share top tips, and our international student ambassadors will also share their top tips, and we will do question and answer. At the very end, we will discuss next steps for enrollment. So if you're still in the process of choosing ECU or moving through the steps, I'll be providing an overview of what those steps are. And my one housekeeping is that if you could keep your microphone muted while we're doing some of the presentation topics, that would be very helpful to reduce feedback. And after, we will open it up to verbal questions and answer. If you have questions during the presentation, you can type them in the chat box and we will address them. Also, I'm Kathy. I'm with the Office of Global Affairs, and I manage the international recruitment and admissions. We're going to start with introducing our advisors.
Hi, my name is Steve Mizek. I work in the College of Business.
Hi, my name is Leanne Etheridge. I work in the College of Arts and Sciences.
I'm David Bucci. I'm with the College of Engineering and Technology.
I'm a student at the College of Engineering and Technology, Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering.
Hi, I'm Liz, and I'm majoring in German.
My name is Paul Ramirez, and I'm doing the MBA program at the College of Business.
Okay, so we're going to switch back over to the PowerPoint for a visual aid, and we'll get started with our topics. And thank you guys for joining us. I hope you enjoy. Okay. So we'd like to start with just an explanation of the holistic approach to U.S. education. And I guess I'll start and everyone can pitch in as they see fit. So in the U.S., we really focus on 3 areas of development while you're a student, and those all happen simultaneously. So of course you have your academic development in your classes, and then you're also encouraged to pursue social development and professional development. And those will all make you into a well-rounded student. And I'm going to let the academic advisors take over on explaining general education and the benefits of general education.
Okay, so our general ed requirements are 40 hours of a variety of courses composed of English composition. You need to have at least 1 math course. You need to have at least 2 natural science courses. And then you get to choose from a variety of social sciences, humanities, and fine arts. And as she said earlier, this does make you a well-rounded individual. You are choosing a major in your college, so you're going to have an in-depth understanding of your major. But we do believe general education is very important because it does make you more well-rounded. It also gives you an opportunity to explore things that you may have never had a chance to explore before. You may be taking classes that you've never heard of, which is a good thing. It may allow you to find a new passion or expand on a skill that you did not even know you had.
Additionally, I think you'll definitely want to work with your academic advisor once you're here at ECU because, for example, the College of Business, while we require gen eds, just like all ECU students, we have very specific courses that would be considered like cognates that you have to take within those gen eds in order to get you out in a timely manner. Not all degrees are like that, but that's why you'd really want to work with your academic advisor to make sure you're taking the correct math, you're taking the correct social sciences, etc.
And that's beyond just even colleges, even specific programs within an area, say engineering versus design or design versus industrial engineering technology, all have different general education requirements. So as everybody has already said, please do work with your academic advisor.
And a college degree is designed to provide you with the skills for a variety of careers. So we're not just educating you on one particular job. You are going to be working in a lot of different fields in your lifetime, so the gen ed classes kind of help you become that well-rounded individual so you can move from career to career.
And I think, Leanne, you brought up that there are actually statistics around the the Bureau of Labor here in the States that many people now are pursuing anywhere from 11 to 12 career type positions throughout their lifetime. So the chances of only having one career or two careers or using a specific skill set is unlikely, and it's better to have a good toolkit. Absolutely.
So these are the gen ed topics that we kind of alluded to a while ago. Everyone must have at least 2 English composition courses. You must have at least 2 natural sciences, and we've got the courses listed here. So you have a variety of classes to choose from. So we really encourage you to talk with your advisor and choose things that interest you and also that go along well with your major. As Steve mentioned a while ago, everyone has to have 1 math course, but certain majors require specific math. So talking with your advisor will be very useful in that. We also require Health 1000 and Kinesiology 1000, which is just a fancy word for PE. It's a physical activity, so you're going to be getting a little workout when you come to ECU. We also have social sciences. You have to have at least 3 social sciences to graduate. You must have at least 1 humanity and at least 1 fine art. So again, you can see these are a wide variety of classes, and we do want you to pick classes that speak to you. Advisors don't typically recommend these type of courses because we want it to be your choice, and sometimes students have a hard time with that. They want us to tell them everything to take.
Or they want to know what's easy, and we can't tell you what's easy because what's easy to you may not be easy to us, and what's easy to us may not be easy to you. So if anything, as Leanne said, the most important thing is find something that interests you and something that gives you a little bit more of a passion than taking something just because you think it might be easier than something else.
I think this is really, the general education is really fairly what makes the United States college and university education very strong, because it teaches you to critically think about a wide range of subjects and how you can apply that to what you're actually studying to get that career, to get that job.
Would students like to contribute anything about some general education classes you've taken that you've been able to choose your topic? Or within, I know you had mentioned some of this a little bit.
I took voice and articulation. It was a theater class, and I really enjoyed it. If I didn't have to take gen ed, I probably would have taken theater because it's not part of my major or anything.
Right.
And although I'm still a freshman, however, I completed both the English genetic requirements and the natural sciences. So I guess, yeah, I'm done with this for now.
There is a section of our first English course, our first English requirement, that is for English as a second language learners. And so if that's something that you're interested in, please express that, because we can specifically put you in that section if that's something that you're more comfortable with, is being with students who also speak English as a second language. Speak, read, write, and learn in English.
So we do have different roles. So we do have responsibilities as academic advisors, but we also do have specific expectations of our students. So some of the most important things are the most basic things. So you want to know who your academic advisor is, how to contact them. You'll want to know how to schedule appointments. You want to know what their requirements are. And everybody has a little bit of a different requirement. So when you have to come in, and what you need before you come in. So it's always important to make sure that you read your emails from your advisors, because that's going to be your primary contact from your specific advisor, your advising center, or your advising area. Read those emails, because that's going to tell you a lot of the basics on who you need to be with, when, how, what you need to be prepared, and when to contact us for assistance. Now,
I know, Steve, you really wanted to talk about self-advocacy.
Yeah, I'll say, so the different student roles you're looking at right now, we tell all students. When I work with a lot of international students, what I find is oftentimes they will not share with me a lot of their strengths or a lot of things that they're maybe challenged with. I don't know if it is a cultural, I don't want to give you my woe is me issues or whatever the case is with classes. But what I do want to say is use your advisors. We are here to help you be as successful as possible. Do not feel you're telling us too much information. Do not feel that you are just weighing us down with some of the things you may be having issues with, or even some of your successes. We want to hear those things. We want to be able to help you, but we can't help if we don't know. And so you really have to take it to heart and let your advisor know what is going on in classes, what's going on in the residence halls or where you're living. So please, that's one thing if I can say is be an advocate. You've got to step forward and talk to us.
And we're going to get to know you very well, because most advisors are going to work with you from the beginning to the end. So you're going to have a great resource on campus. We're not here to get you, we're here to help you. We're here to guide you through that next step. So those are just some of the things, as Steve was saying, help us help you. Let us know what's going on, and advocate for yourself too.
And I also think a good point to mention is that we won't know all the answers, but we know who to ask or what office or where to start to find the answer to a question. So even if it's not within our wheelhouse, so to say, we can help solve a problem.
Right.
Yeah, I like to think advisors are your first step. And you're lucky because you get two advisors. You get an international advisor and you get an academic advisor. So you actually have two first step people to go to. And like she said, we don't know the answers to everything, but we know a lot of people on this campus, and we will work to find you answers, put you in touch with people who can get the answers. But we can't help you if we don't know the questions. So communication is key.
I would like to say, oftentimes, because some international students can be a little, if I can say, cliquey, their experience may not be your experience, so you've got to work with the professionals so that they can give you the correct information. Whether it's, I have an advisor who has a friend who's in engineering. He's like, I need college algebra. I'm like, no, you don't. You're in college of business, so you got to listen to your faculty as well as your advisors, as well as even as far as simple processes. Sometimes some of your friends who are here may have an understanding, but their whole situation might be different. So you really need to listen to your advisors, because we will help you. I promise you. We won't steer you wrong.
And how about you guys in the back? Do you have any suggestions or comments?
Yeah, so I'm a transfer student, so I started college back home and then I transferred to ECU. And I can tell you one thing, which is we don't have that service, at least in my country. And it's totally worth it to take advantage of this service. Academic advising is key, and it's going to help you a lot. So yes, use it.
So how about the advisor role?
So like we said earlier, our job is to help you. We are well educated in policies and procedures on campus. We understand the catalog, which is a very complicated, we have a lot of complicated rules. We do not expect you to know all of those rules, but if you talk to us, we will tell you which rules you need to follow, which ones you need to know about at that particular time. We can discuss academic goals with you. So if you're interested in going to medical school or law school, let us know that so we can help you take the right courses. As I said, we're knowledgeable of campus policies and procedures. We can point you in the right direction if you need help with anything. And we definitely want to listen and understand and respond to all of your concerns.
And every student's going to have something unique. So even if you have other fellow countrymen and women who are coming over, your experience is going to be different from theirs, and theirs is going to be different from yours. So when we work with our students, we work with them as an individual. So you're not a number when we're working with you. We are there for you to help you based on where your needs are and where you need to go, and based on your goals. So just as you go forward, just remember that we're here, as everybody said, and as we talked about before, we're here for you. So we're going to treat you as an individual.
And this is our job. So don't ever think that you are bothering us. Which I've had a lot of students, they send me emails and they're like, oh, I'm sorry to bother you. It's not a bother. This is what we do. so please reach out to us.
And I was going to say also, just the advising setup, I mean, all of our colleges are going to go ahead and have a professional advisor at least for the first 2 years. Some of our, within some of the colleges, your name of professional advisor, this is our job, this is what we do. Other colleges, you may move to a faculty member, which is going to be an added resource for you. So that is something to be considered, and as you are here your freshman year, your professional advisor will tell you that their particular system.
So everyone studies something different, and a good resource to have is the Degree Explorer. And this can help you whether you are uncertain as to what you would like to study or you're looking forward. So Paul, who's one of our students here, started as an undergraduate student and continued on into a master's program. And I'm sure he used this resource.
Yeah, definitely. Especially because I transferred from the College of Arts and Science to the College of Business. So it was helpful, definitely.
Do you guys want to weigh in on?
Yeah, this is a very useful tool. A lot of students come in and they think they know what major they want to pursue, and sometimes they get into first class or two and they realize they don't like it or it's not what they thought it was, and then it really terrifies students when they think I've had my whole life figured out and now I don't have my life figured out. So again, talk to your advisor. We will point you in this direction. We have a whole list of all of the undergraduate majors we offer. We have a description of every major. We have a list of classes that you'll take. We have a lot of resources on our career page as well, where you can take a lot of surveys and assessments to figure out what your strengths and weaknesses are.
This will also be important for some majors have additional admissions requirements or declaration requirements. And sometimes if the student's not meeting those requirements, we will refer them to this page to help them choose a major that's more suited for their academic, their academic needs. So it's important to remember.
Which is a great segue into changing your major.
So yeah, as we mentioned, it's not uncommon for students to change majors. If you get into your major and you realize you don't like it, please do not stress out too much about it. Talk to your advisor. We can walk you through everything you need to know. We can point you in a lot of various online tools that you can use. We can put you in contact with the Career Center. We can put you in contact with faculty members. You can talk with other students about their experiences with the major.
I think definitely coming from my perspective in the College of Business, there are certain majors, depending on how many hours you completed in the College of Business, that would make more sense for you to go into and change to. And I think most areas have something like that, kind of like a pathway, like, okay, you're not making it here, but let's look at these other options that are very closely related and would be able to get you out in a timely manner and to graduate in a timely manner. So definitely, again, work with your advisor.
And that's also the importance of your gen ed classes. We have a lot of majors that students have never heard of before. I'll give you an example: anthropology and geography. A lot of students don't take a lot of anthropology or geography classes in high school, but they come here, they take a class in it, and they end up loving it. So we call those exploratory majors. Like they'll come here and they'll find them, and they decide, hey, I want to major in that. So just taking those gen ed classes, you might find something that you want to major in.
We have a lot of alternative majors too. So if you find something that maybe you didn't get into meet the admissions requirements or meet that qualification to be able to start right in that program, you work with your advisors and we're able to provide some alternate majors that you may want to consider. So maybe if you thought you liked computer science, but maybe you liked a different aspect of computers, we have a different home for you. Same thing with engineering and some of these other areas. And it may be within the college and some of them may be outside of the college as well. But generally, if you're looking at a certain major, there are alternatives that may interest you and maybe that exact piece where you want to be, that exact major where you want to be.
Have any of you changed your major or thought about changing your major?
I've changed my major 4 or 5 times. I started off with art, and then I changed to English, French, Spanish, and then finally German.
So you just made your rounds through the 4 languages. So what were your points of consideration, though? What made you consider changing your major, and then what ultimately made you decide?
Well, I tried a few art classes, and they were kind of the workload was kind of a little bit much for me. So I tried to take 3 languages at ECU, and I ended up liking German the best.
One of the points that I want to mention in regards to changing your major is every incoming student who holds an F1 visa does have to indicate a major to receive the Form I-20. So almost all of you will have some subject-specific thing on your Form I-20. It is not a problem if you find through your time that you would like to change, but including your academic advisor is the first step, and then including your international student advisor is the second step, because that information has to be changed in the immigration database, CBIS. So again, it's not an issue, but that information has to be kept up to date.
Okay, here's the math placement. This is a scary looking slide. We have different criteria to place you in the appropriate math class. Most of you probably are not going to have taken the SAT or the ACT, maybe not, or an AP test. And if you haven't, that's fine. We do have a placement test that we will give you when you come to campus, and that will determine which math you will start with.
Additionally, if you're a transfer student coming from another university, what we would ask is if you've taken a calculus class, have the syllabus, the course description that you receive from your faculty, have it, make sure it's translated officially into English and supply it to us, and we will be able to see if that counts as our calculus class or whatever other course.
Or college algebra. I would say any math class,
Yes.
have your syllabus handy and ready to have it reevaluated by the departments.
If you're transferring from a community college or a junior college from North Carolina, that's information that we would already have. However, it is just good practice to keep all of your syllabi in case you do want to advocate for transferable credits that may not have been awarded at the beginning. And the math placement test is going to be offered in August once you arrive. So if you do need to take the on-campus math placement, that will be an option for you. And you'll be getting more information, more specific information about that over the summer. So, how do they register for classes?
Well, we will get a list of who you are and your intended major, and we will be reaching out to you. You will be assigned an advisor, someone in our center, and we will be reaching out to you through your ECU email account. So it's very important that you know what your ECU email account is, your password, and that you check it on a regular basis. I would say 3 to 4 times a week throughout the summer, if not every day.
Yeah, we do it daily.
Okay.
I would say every day. And once you get that ECU account, you will notice, and I'm sure the students here can verify, you will get a lot of emails. Ones that you want to be aware of is from your advisor, anything from your college, anything from international advising. You want to make sure you're watching and looking at those.
Financially.
And once you've gone through a semester or 2, then you'll probably end up realizing which ones are junk emails that you can just kind of delete without looking solely at. But definitely, yeah, we'll email you, look at it daily, and then you would schedule an appointment, either face-to-face, over the phone, Skype, whatever the case might be, and then we'll get you registered for classes. And if you're a traditional freshman, you'll come in as orientation as well. No? Oh, never mind. I lied about that. I'm thinking of another student who's here. Sorry.
So if we have issued your I-20, or we are confident that that can be issued if you're a student who already holds a student visa and we are waiting for your semester or your school year to end to transfer that information here, then your information has been provided to the academic advisors. If you are still deciding on ECU, which at this point is completely fine, but we have not necessarily communicated that information to the academic advisors yet. Once you have made the next steps towards actually enrolling at ECU, we will share that information with the academic advisors so that they can start reaching out to you about registering for classes. As they mentioned, they'll want to communicate with you via your ECU email. You can connect this to your smartphone, and that is probably the easiest way to maintain your email. Just to quickly look at it, see if anything has come through from them, from the international office, from the cashier's office, and I'll talk about next steps at the end, so I don't want to get too far into that. But
And if you can, I'm not sure what your timeline is, but we would really like to register you as soon as possible, preferably before June the 3rd, because that is when our incoming freshmen register. And at that point, a lot of classes will close very quickly. So your best chance of getting in the classes that you want to take are going to be if you can touch base with us and we can get you registered before June 3rd.
You guys have anything to share, students, from your?
In my case, it was a little different because I was also working with the athletics department, and so he was the one that that registered me for every single class. I had to meet eligibility requirements as of credit hours, so I didn't get to pick anything or decide anything. It was just I came here and I found out what my classes were.
So there is an academic advisor, to Paul's point, that is exclusively for athletes, and many of you coming in this fall will be athletes on one team or another at ECU, and so you will have a person who is your point person. You have an added layer of accountability in qualifying for NCAA eligibility, and so that will be your person who will help you, and you may have a little less freedom in the amount of credits or courses that you are able to take. But that relationship is actually, I would argue, potentially even more important to maintain not only your academic status, your immigration status, and your athletic status.
Yeah, but at the same time, it is also true that you have preferences over other students, because if practice is at certain time, you can choose your class at a different time, so it is not conflicting.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to take the PowerPoint away here, and we're going to move back to video and do some top tips. So our academic advisors will share their top tips, and then ambassadors, you guys can weigh in on things that you think would be helpful. One second, please. Hello again. Hi.
There we are.
All right, so this is probably more informal, but you guys can just start and share, and maybe you'll feed off of each other a little bit too.
When in doubt, ask. If you're ever unsure, if you think you don't know, ask a question. And the worst thing is to not ask, because at that point it's something that you don't know or you're not sure of, and we're the ones who are going to help guide you through. And that one thing that you didn't know, you don't want that to set you back. And if you didn't ask a question, we want to make sure that we attend to it as early as possible. We try to be as proactive as possible rather than reactive, but that does rely on you asking those questions.
And don't feel bad about asking those questions. Again, that's why we're here. We're here to answer all of your questions. And you're supposed to have a lot of questions.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have a lot of questions, we get a little nervous because we don't know what you're being told by other students. And students are very nice. They try to help you, but as Steve said, don't always listen to students about the academic issues. I'll say that.
Everyone's experience is unique.
Right.
I would say, whether it's asking a question, whether it's meeting with an advisor or a faculty member, so do it early. The longer you wait, the more challenging it could be. So definitely want to come in and see us, even as to Leanne's point regarding, hey, if you can register, if you can apply and get admitted by June 3rd, do that. Do it early. I think that's always going to be one of the most important things we can stress.
And get to know your faculty members. The faculty have office hours posted on their syllabus. So that is specific times that they're going to be in their office available for you to ask questions. And they want to get to know you. Sometimes you'll have a class of 20 or 25 students. Sometimes you may be in a class with larger, maybe 100 or 200 students, but you want that professor to know who you are. So ask questions.
And at least in our college, you're going to get to know your faculty very well because you're going to have a lot of the same faculty at the beginning as you will at the end. So you're going to get to build up a great relationship with you too within the classroom. So those are the ones who are going to give you recommendations. Those are going to want the ones who are going to work with you on research. Those are the ones who are going to get to actually know how you do in the academic world. So advisors will be able to help you out outside of the classroom, but you have those faculty who are just going to be there for you every step of the way.
I think also specifically, I'm thinking back through some faculty work with international students, why it's so important also to have those conversations and know them. If you have cultural observations, whether religious or country, you definitely want to have conversations if you're having missing class. You don't just want to assume, hey, it's within my culture to go ahead and miss 7 days of classes because someone in my family passed away. Because if your faculty don't know, they just think you're not coming, and that does affect your overall grades and so forth. So definitely want to make sure you have these conversations with your faculty.
And while that sounds really technical, in the US, we have quite a lot of provisions around freedom. And so religious freedom is included in that. And if there are provisions that you need to observe a death in the family or something as such, while you're coming to the States and it is a different culture, if it's incredibly important, those provisions can be made. It just requires communication. Paul, I know you wanted to talk about some of these things too.
No, yeah, I just wanted to say that I would echo what they're saying, because as I said, I transferred from Barcelona, and so I got to see a lot of the differences, and that's one of them. You should be using academic advisors. It's going to help you a lot. Don't rely on what other people say, and get to see your professors, because that's a main difference, at least from my experience. Back home, you just get to see the professor in the class, and that's it. Whereas here, I was able to establish relationship with my professors, and that has helped me a lot.
What are some of the benefits of that? Establishing a relationship with your
Well,
professor?
in my case, for example, I will be studying a PhD program in the fall, and the main reason that I was able to get that position is because my faculty members have helped me with recommendations, as he was saying, and they have helped me with research as well. So it's just a big support that you're going to get from your faculty members that you want to use.
Do you guys have anything to share?
I'll just use whatever resources that are available to you, such as the Career Center, like for resume checks or workshops, the Pirate Academic Success Center, if you need help with homework, if you need help with explaining more concepts, and the Writing Center, like to go over your writing pieces or your essays for your classes, because all of these resources are there to help you as a student.
And they're free.
And so I think you were saying before that it's not an easy question to ask, oh, what are the easiest classes I can take? But you can use Rate My Professor. It's a website that you can go and see what all the students have to say about that professor. And again, don't believe everything that it's there, but it is a source that you can go to and just look what people have to say about it.
One of my favorite professors in college, her ratings were not that great because she expected a lot of work.
Right.
She was pretty challenging, but she was a great professor. So keep that in mind as you're reading some of these reviews from students. They may not be as academic as you are.
The reviews can help manage or prepare you for expectations, though.
Expectations regarding how I would look at the comments that talk about how the course is taught. How is it? Is there a lot of lecture? Is there a lot of other group work? Definitely, Rate My Professor is, I think, from an advising perspective, a tool that we all hate.
Like Steve said, read the comments, because some students, you have to go to class. And a lot of students don't go to class, and they think that they can just get by with not doing that. And you've got to go to class, you've got to read the books, you've got to read your texts.
Also realize that I can go in and rate people, and I've never taken that class. So it's not a very, what's the word I'm looking for?
Official.
Yeah, it's not.
Certainly use your critical thinking skills.
Yes, thank you.
So we have had a question in the chat, and it is about if there are activities offered outside the classroom that are relevant to specific majors.
There are a lot of clubs and organizations within each department and program. So if anything, it's just a matter of finding the time to do all the things that you want to do. There are a lot of opportunities, so it's just a matter of where you want to put into it. So if you're in if you're in engineering, there are at least 4 or 5 different groups or clubs that you could join, including the Baja Racer group and some of these different things where you can do some fun hands-on things. You can get some great experiences. Some you can even get into presentations and work with your faculty on that side too. So yeah, there are plenty.
As I said, I think almost every college will have their own academic clubs. And like for our College of Business, it's important because they network, they bring in a variety of speakers from across the different business areas, as well as just outside of academic affairs and academic clubs. There's 400 or 500 other student organizations that, if you like a TV show called Price is Right, there's a club for it. So it's just things that, anything very silly, stress-free to very serious. There's something here for everybody.
Yeah, the College of Arts and Sciences has 16 different departments. Every department and every major has their own club. So if you're a history major, there's a history club. There's an anthropology club. I mean, there are ways to get involved.
What are some of the activities you all are involved in that are related to your studies?
For German, there's a German club, and we sometimes bake German cookies, and we organize Oktoberfest and do other German stuff like Easter bonfire.
Well, no, in my case, I was involved this semester with the Latin dance club, Suavemente. And again, it's something that is not related with business. It would be more of a dance major. But there are so many clubs and organizations that can get involved that.
But this does tie back to the academic, social, professional development. So outside of class and major related things, what else are you guys involved with aside from dancing?
Yeah, I'm involved with the athletics department as well. I'm helping out the track and field team as an assistant coach. And we're doing this as well. It's another organization that we're helping with. What do you guys?
Well, outside the classroom and academic perspectives, I'm the treasurer of the International Students Association. So it's a group of international students. We all come together, we discuss our affairs, how our classes are going, and we also occasionally host some activities and events for the students.
What are some of the skills that you're getting out of being the treasurer?
First of all, out of the whole club, I get to develop my communication skills with the different team members and with the different departments here at ECU and the different offices. Besides that, I also get, to develop my quote-unquote financial skills, where I get to track and budget and predict what our expenses would be for a certain event.
So we've had another question. What kind of material will I need for class? So let's start with textbooks.
Textbooks. And they could be online textbooks. They're not always a paper book. You could have online text. But as I mentioned earlier, that is one of the biggest mistakes students make, is not reading the book. They think they can go to class and attend and listen to the lecture, and they think they're going to get everything from the lecture, and that is just not the case. The lecture is just a small part of what the professor goes over. They go over the high points, the highlights of it, but the professors expect you to read your textbooks before you walk into class. So if you're walking into class unprepared, you're going to be totally lost in the lecture. So you need to get in the mindset of, before you go to class, read your text, be prepared for that day. And the professor gives you a syllabi usually, and it's pretty outlined depending on the professor, I would say. Sometimes they tell you specifically which chapters or which pages or which topics they're going to go over that day. So that'll help you be prepared.
What's great is once you've enrolled in the class, HirePort, which is one of our database management systems which all students have access to, it'll tell you what books you need to buy for that course before you ever get a syllabus. So you'll purchase books before you even start the semester. You have that opportunity. Obviously, you may wait until you come to the United States, and then you'll come to ECU, and then you'll go ahead and purchase. But additionally, once you go to that first class, there's going to be syllabus. You're going to have all the expectations, all of the requirements for that class. It's almost like a contract between that class and you, what you can expect or what you need to do to be successful in that class. I mean, other things, obviously, pens, computer technology, it's going to be probably pretty a necessity here at ECU for all your classes, specifically the laptops.
We do have computer labs on campus.
Yeah, sure.
Lots of computer labs.
Most of the programs in the College of Engineering and Technology require a laptop to be in the program or when you start the program, and they expect you from day one to bring in a laptop. Now, I'm not saying you have to go and download all the programs that you may see and you hear that other people use, but at least just the basic laptop with good RAM, good hard drive space, and Microsoft Office, which you should be able to get for free here, right? To get Office 365.
Mhm.
Yeah, so you really don't, if you get a good laptop, you shouldn't have to load it up before you get here, but check with the programs that you're looking at.
Where do you guys buy your textbooks?
Yeah, as for getting textbooks, there are many options. You can go to the bookstore and get them there. A lot of people do it that way, but you can also get them on Amazon or other websites, or you can try to go to the library and get the book through there, which that's the cheapest option, obviously, because you're gonna get it for free. Even if they don't have it there, they can do the interlibrary. So they ask for the book somewhere else and they get it for you. So if you do that very early, you're gonna have that advantage and not gonna have to pay for your books, which they are very expensive. So you might want to consider that option.
Well, like he said, do it early.
Yeah.
Paul, when we were discussing this event and planning for it, you had mentioned a couple things around like classroom etiquette and study guides and kind of expectations of things that you hadn't experienced in Barcelona that you did here.
Yeah, as far as the etiquette, I was used to dress business casual at the very least when I would go to class, and that was a shock, I think, for all of us when we first came, because people are very loose here, so you can just go to class with your warm-ups or like gym clothes. So it's not that important. Another one is like you can wear a hat when you're in class, whereas back home that's considered very rude. So that those cultural differences are also going to come in hand. And then the other thing you mentioned was the study guide. You get a study guide prior to the exam, so you know what's going to be more or less on the exam. That's not something I was used to when I was home. So yeah, just use it. It's very helpful and it's going to make your life easier. Same as the syllabus. I didn't know what it was when I went to class the first day, and everybody kept saying syllabus, and I didn't know what it was. And as he said, it's a contract between you and the professor. It's a plan of that year for that class. So you want to read that syllabus and use it.
And the study guide point is not going to be universal. Not every professor will use that tactic of sort of giving topics of what will be on an exam. But if it is offered, it's definitely a useful tool to help put your energies towards studying to the best possible topics. So those of you in the audience, are there any additional questions that you may have that we haven't touched on in regards to classroom, studying, advising, degree pathways?
And I have a recommendation. The Pirate Academic Success Center is always a good resource if you're struggling in class and need help. You can always book an appointment with a tutor. And well, I'm a tutor, so the people who work there are other students who have taken the same class but have already received an A for that class, so they can help you, and it's free. So.
That's definitely one of the more unique things about U.S. education is the amount of services that are provided to students on campus that are free or have already been included in your student fees that are really there to help you be successful. Because not just academic training, but generally life training is part of this university experience. Okay, so if you do have any other questions that pop up, feel free to ask or write them in the chat. I'm going to come back into view here.
Right there.
And I'm going to just go briefly over the next steps of if you are still deciding or if you have decided but are somewhere along in this process. So the primary next step or the foremost next step would be starting the student visa process. And so that would be to submit your completed confidential financial information form to the International Admissions Office via email. And you can send that to international@ecu.edu. That is where you should have been receiving everything from throughout this process of your application, admission, and enrollment. Along with the completed form, we need your supporting evidence of your finances. So that can be your bank statements, your parents, your grandparents, confirmation of any scholarships awarded, athletes, that would be your grant and aid letter, which we actually received from the athletics office, so you don't need to send that. But you do have to complete the confidential financial information form and provide the copy of your passport identification page if you have not already. After that will start the process to issue your Form I-20, and you will take that information to the U.S. Department of State to apply for your student visa. You will receive detailed instructions from us about how to move through that process, but I just want to note that that is apart from ECU. We issue you the forms and we can tell you what the next steps are, but as far as applying for the student visa, that is through the U.S. Department of State. If you have not done this yet, I would strongly suggest trying to complete this step in particular by the beginning of May, so in the next 2 weeks. The longer you wait into the summer, the longer the wait times at the U.S. Department of State will be. People all over the world are applying for student visas or visitor visas or work visas, so you want to make sure that you're getting a spot and not waiting 3 weeks for your interview. You will also be receiving information via email to complete your housing contract. Any freshman student is required to live on campus their first year. If you want to talk with us about that requirement because you have family in the area, then we can provide you some advice perhaps about what to do there. If you're a transfer student, and when I say transfer, I mean you have already gone to college or university elsewhere and are coming to ECU to complete your degree, and you have completed at least 24 credit hours, you are not required to live on campus. We do have a resource of apartments near campus or in Greenville that you can look at, and they will range from very cost effective to more luxury, so that's really up to your preferences. If you are living on campus, there is a contract you have to sign with the housing office. We do not require a housing deposit because there are several fees associated with your student visa. We don't request that in advance. And then after that would be submitting your immunization records. These do need to be translated into English. They cannot be translated by a family member, so they do need to be officially translated. And then you need to upload them to My Pirate Chart, or you can email them to immunizations@ecu.edu. This should be done by the 1st of August, but the sooner you get it done, the better. Please reference your arrival guide, or if you have questions, ask, because there are specific immunizations needed. You can get almost all of them outside of the US, and so if you come from a country with a national healthcare system, I would strongly recommend you save yourself the money, because our healthcare system is complicated at best, and you do have to pay for many services that you receive here in the States. And you would have health insurance, so it wouldn't necessarily be full price, but if you can get it for like little to no cost in your home country, please do that. The only one that is absolutely required to happen in the States is your tuberculosis test. That is a federal requirement. If you are confused at all by this topic, please ask questions. We can help you. We will be doing airport pickups from either Raleigh-Durham Airport, that's airport code RDU, or Pitt Greenville Airport, which is airport code PGB. That is in Greenville, North Carolina. not south. So those will be happening on August 13th and 14th. We will be sending out more detailed information about how to register for either of those, the times of the shuttles and the costs of the shuttles in May. So in the next month or so, you'll be receiving that information from our office. You'll be able to move into residence halls on the 14th of August, and you'll be getting more information about that over the summer. And orientation for incoming international students is going to be Thursday, August 15th. Again, you'll be receiving more information about that over the summer. What time, where, what to bring with you, what we're doing that day. It is mandatory for incoming international students to attend international student orientation. So please make sure you are in Greenville prior to the 15th of August. I would strongly recommend not arriving at 10 p.m. on the 14th of August, as you will be jet lagged and exhausted, and it might be very hard for you to get into wherever you're living. So if you especially are living in an off-campus apartment, please try to make your arrival between standard business hours, which is 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, any other questions at this point? Or any other comments? Okay, we don't have anything in the chat, so I'm just going to come back over here. Thank you all for joining us. I hope you found this helpful. If you want to talk more about student life, we will be doing this same setup next week, next Monday, the 22nd, same time. This is 11 to 12 Eastern Standard Time, and we will have our ambassadors and hopefully a few more of them next week to talk to you about all things life outside the classroom, living in Greenville, living in the U.S., and their challenges and their successes, because it's definitely a transition. So we hope you join us for that one as well. And thank you all for participating. I'm so grateful.